Alright, Jupiter 2, FlightLog 29. FlightLog 27 was doing all the fiber optics, setting that up. FlightLog 28 was that video review, going over all my notes in front of the TV, watching those reviews that are also here on YouTube. If you search Jupiter 2 lighting reference, you'll find them. There's 4 of them. The 4th is the least important. The first 2 are the best. The 3rd has some other good unique shots overall. So one of the things that I've been stressing for this build, at least personally, is that the lighting has to be relative to the scale of the whole thing. So many times you'll see these small models with the brightest possible light going on as if that's a good thing, and to me it really takes away from the reality of it. So at 1/35th scale, I don't know the exact math to get these little blinking boards that are all over the place to the exact scale, but I'm going to go for a good feel. And in that regard, what I've been doing for a little while now is I took several different resistors. The first was 1,000 ohm, then was a 5,000 ohm. And I found that by plugging 2 5,000s together, that got the red here that I think I'm really looking for. When I had that lit up, what I did was to hold some of the fiber optic strands over this to see how it looked, and overall I think it'll be good, because if you get even a slight angle off of some of these fiber optics coming out, even though they've been bloomed, they still have a fairly sharp incidence of reflection. I don't know what it would be, but casting light in a very narrow angle. Where was I? So yeah, I pulled out a strip of 10,000 ohm resistors that I had on hand. So I'm going to be wiring at least this one up with 10,000 and probably all the others as well. At worst, I could always throw another resistor on if it was too bright, but I'm sure that it's definitely not going to be too dim. And yeah, so that is it. I've had the soldering iron going for a little while now, so I'm going to throw one of these resistors on one of these guys, and I'll probably be powering with these leads for now. And I don't know if I'll be working over here on this bench or over here on this one with the model. And looking over the model, what I've decided is that I'm going to go from 1 o'clock to 12 o'clock in that direction. So I'll be starting off with what I think is the communication station. So for reds, we've got 3 steadies here, 3 steadies there. This 4th one is a randomly, rarely on red. There is a red here and a red there, and all 6 of these are red, which go up there. And then it's on to airlocks, which has at least 1 red, if not 2. It's kind of tough to tell. Looking at the old videos, they've got some really bad color casting in some, so you kind of have to guess relative to other colors you're seeing. While some of them looked yellow, they were probably a warm white back in the day, for example. So anyhow, let me get this soldered up. If you've never seen soldering before, there's a lot of videos. I've got a Cylon lighting tutorial. Look for that playlist. That's got a good thing on soldering. But since I just want to do quick edits and not show the whole process, at least at this easy stage, let's save some viewing time for the fun stuff here. With LED soldered, I started to, it turns out that when I last packed this up, a lot of these were tucked into each other, so they were holding firmly. But it also turns out that a few strands wound up getting glued to another place on the board, so I had to cut them loose. Hopefully they'll still be long enough for any LED that I need to put in. So what I'm thinking of doing is putting that red LED, let's see, where are we? Freezer wall, control panel, front door over here. Basically it'll fit just about anywhere, but the most room, let's actually break out the lower hull here. Overall, I have the most room under here, under the flight deck, but there's also a good channel right in there. And that area itself is just going to be really crowded no matter what. And of course, there's sequencers and other boards to put in here, but I'm thinking I may be able to mount them on a sidewall such as this or that. And you'll have to forgive the white balance. as I shift in between both of these areas here. So I'm thinking I'll put the red LED under here. It's nice to see that this central light blocker that I've got here is not going to interfere with any of the ceiling going on, which I'm definitely concerned about being a tight fit. And of course I have to watch out for these red cross barriers, which are in fact all of the landing gear wells here. And of course for the lower hull here, it's almost going to be time to start finally putting it together. The legs have to go in before these sidewalls, and that's definitely a major sticking point that's been holding me back on that, because I don't want this piece to be sitting around on those 3 legs no matter how strong they actually are, because that's definitely risking unnecessary breakage. So with that, let's see, I got my plastic tube there. We'll switch white balance and get to town on this side. So this is about the best angle I can get on this whole workbench area overall, because of the way the corner here is set up. I'm just going to run a quick dab around the bottom here. And yes, indeed, one commenter in the last video pointed out correctly that this is very likely a old X-Acto blade tube, which is a little too big for the 10mm, so I may have to shimmy it with something here. Or, even better, what I'll do is trim it down. There we go. Perfect. Now I just need a clamp. Oh, it'll work. It'll work. So in this case, as the tube is larger than the LED diameter, there is the potential for stuffing fiber optics past the surface of the LED, and at that point, of course, they're not going to light at all. And in fact, the closer you get to the edge, the less likely they are to get a lot of light. So really, you would want the fiber optics here to stop somewhere in this area, just so the light has a chance to spread out and get to them. So this is still in a delicate little state. It's only a couple minutes later. But what I can do is start trying to position it here or there, and it looks like right there might be a nice spot, facing this way perhaps. This way would probably be more convenient. Yeah, that works as well, I imagine. Somewhere just in like that even. Oh, I don't want to do any painting today, so what I will have to do is wrap this up in some kind of tape so there's not a lot of light leak going on. Well, that could add to the overall ambience underneath. The only place you'll be able to see into the hull from below is the door hatches, like right there in the center. One of the common problems I've seen with a few Jupiter 2s on YouTube is that the flashing lights from the engines fly up and illuminate the inside of the hull, so I'm hoping that that right there is going to stop that problem, or at least highly limit it. Baffle it, you might say. Baffle. So, I guess I'll just glue this little guy down, and my big concern is in feeding individual fibers into the LED, I'm going to have to be flipping the model back and forth to see if something's lighting or not, so I'm worried about flexing the floor, because if that happens, then wall pieces will start pulling up potentially. So there is some danger, and care must be taken in the immediate future. So I'm probably going to put this back on the tripod, and I'll see you in a second.